5 levels of health: physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Let's get into detail on how and why this matters for you. Hey, I'm Logan Christopher, and this is how I think about health on these 5 different levels: physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So let's go through a little bit more detail on these. What is on the physical level? This is mostly where people think about health in the first place, having to do with our physical body, right? But of course, that's not all there. But let's list out some of these things. Well, in Western medicine, how do they look at health? What does an average doctor look at? Well, there's the chemical means to health, pharmaceutical drugs working on this operation. You might call it the biochemical, different words we could use for this thing. And then there's surgery. Surgery is looking at kind of that structural, what is there, what is not, looking at your body as a machine, and can we remove or add different parts in there. But that's not all that is in this. I mean, we can look at diet. So once again, on that chemical level, it's not just about the drugs, but the diet and all the different chemicals in the food and supplements, various things that can work on this chemical level. In addition, we have movement, fitness, all of that's working here. We can throw in things like sleep. So let's just write some of these out here. Sleep, fitness, chemical, structural. Manipulations, right? So various things that would fit into that category. Massage or chiropractic care, all working on the physical. Now, as I say this, realize that although things may be primarily on one level, that doesn't mean that they aren't also operational on others. So we'll talk more about that as we go along. So let's move to the energetic level. Now, in talking about this, we can look at it in a couple different ways. We can look at kind of the biological energy. So your body is creating ATP. If this is related to that chemical, we can look at metabolism, the energy that is created in that, or the nervous system, which is operating off of basically electricity. So those are a couple levels we can look at there. In addition, we also have subtle forms of energy. This is getting into various things such as acupuncture, working with the meridians or the chakra system, these different energies that can work on this level. But we also have something in between. All sorts of electromagnetic frequencies are working for us. Good or bad, we can think about light and sound. Sound is more vibration. I mean, where we categorize these, there's room for debate, but these things are definitely going to affect you. You want to have better sleep in the morning, one of the best things you can do is go get sunlight in your eyes, because this is going to upregulate serotonin, which can transform into melatonin later on. So that's a couple things about the energetic level. Now let's move up to emotional level. What are emotions? One of the best ways that I think of describing them is emotion, energy in motion. And in that way, it kind of relates to this energetic level. But what are the feelings you have in your body? And we can talk about motivations as well, because that is emotional energy. I read a story recently about a person that had some sort of brain damage where they could not feel emotions anymore. They were completely logical. And contrary to what you might think may happen with this, where a person would be able to make the best decisions because they're just relying on logic, these kind of people are rendered they can't make any decisions at all, because it's actually the emotions that drives decision making in the first place. So these are just a couple things on the emotional level that we can deal with, and it's very important, because what stops you from doing so much of this physical stuff is stuff on these higher levels of health. Now, in the mental level, I mean, this is where we get to thought patterns. And I'd say even like the modes, the modalities, submodalities, thought modes are important in there. And of course, this stuff, it starts to get blurrier between the lines as we go up in here. We have beliefs, are a big mental thing, which may have emotional energy behind them or not. Even bigger sets of beliefs, we could say paradigms, various things of this nature. And there's a lot more that goes into each of these categories, just trying to give you a feel for it. Then the spiritual level. Now, some people may not believe that this level exists at all. I used to be one of them, but no longer am because I've had lots of experiences in working with this. One of the things that's important about this is a belief once again, but we may call it or I like to call it a transcendental belief. What are your beliefs about these higher, more spiritual things that are out there? And we can look at connection. You know, when I'm meditating, when I'm journaling in the morning, sure, sometimes I'm thinking through different problems I have. Other times I seem to be being thought. I'm connecting to something where stuff is flowing through me. So what is going on there? Well, that's going to depend on your spiritual beliefs now, isn't it? And then what this has to do with healing is that, well, miracles do happen. Tons and tons of cases of those if you want to look for them, where this connection, where people are doing things. So let's take the example of Reiki. I do not have a lot of experience in this, but it's an interesting one. So most people would think of this as an energetic thing. It's a laying on of the hands. So in that way, it's kind of here. But what do people that are in Reiki, what do they say? It's not them doing something, but they're connecting. They're allowing this energy to flow through them. So we can see all sorts of different examples here. Let's talk about psychology, whether this is going to see a psychiatrist. You know, they may prescribe you drugs, so they're working on this physical, chemical level, right? But whether you're doing cognitive behavioral therapy, doing something like neuro-linguistic programming, that is going to be working on the mental and emotional levels primarily. So we can have different systems and see how they fit in this. Now this is why this is important. As I've kind of explained here, things may not exist just on one level, but all the levels interact with each other. The spiritual can affect the physical can affect the spiritual, and so on through this. So let's give an example. Brain health, right? So we have this physical structure of the brain. A lot of people equivalent the brain to the mind, but there's definitely an important connection between them, but they are somewhat different as well. But we can look at this as physical. If you're getting certain chemicals in your diet, let's say you have a gluten allergy and you're getting gluten, and we know that this can pass through the leaky gut, it can cause foggy thinking, various things in the brain. There's a chemical there that's going to affect you, your thought patterns, your mind, and your emotions. We can also look at various vitamins like B12 or nootropic, whether these are herbs or individual isolated things, and we take some of those and all of a sudden our thinking is better. So we see cross-connection between these different levels. And ultimately, if you have, a lot of people are dealing with physical symptoms of a disease or an injury, right? The problem is, even though the problem may exist on one level, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to fix it on that level. That's probably going to happen. But what I like to do, if you have a problem, let's throw all of this at it. Sure, it's more complicated, but often, let's say you have a physical injury or you have a disease, research is showing that, oftentimes those disease things that get triggered by some sort of trauma on one of these levels. So this can become very important. You work on all these levels and you're more likely to get the result that you want. This is how I think about health. It's not an easy way to think about health, but it is more accurate and tends to get good results if you're going across these different things. If you'd like to have this kind of thrown onto the issues that you are working with, one-on-one help from me, check out my new Virtuous Vitality coaching program. That's at virtuousvitality.com. That's spelled with 2 U's. Not many people use the word virtuous very often. But this is how I think about health. This is how, with a systems approach, we can find what may be the point that you really need help on, but then looking at it, tracking it through these different levels, and all these many different things we can use, what may actually give you the leverage, give you the impact to not just get that symptom, but the root cause of it. So go find out more at virtuousvitality.com. Hope to see you there.